Brooklyn, Kyle Guy's eyes were still awestruck and taking in his triumphant present when he tempered his celebration by acknowledging the future. He was standing near one of the three-point arcs on the floor of the Barclays Center, gripping the trophy he was awarded as Most Outstanding Player of the ACC tournament. He and his Virginia teammates had just won with a 71-63 victory over North Carolina, the hardwood around him littered with orange and navy confetti. As his fellow Cavaliers took their turns trimming the net, Guy was approached by a small cluster of TV reporters, one of whom asked the guard the moment's most basic question: "What does it mean to win this championship?" "It means a lot," Guy said, "but it's not everything." He was referring to the goals that await over the next 3+ weeks on a standard that will now be attached to Virginia from outside its program as well. The Cavaliers, who entered the regular season unranked and tabbed to finish 6th in the ACC's preseason poll, will enter next week's NCAA tournament with a resume that begets heavy expectation. The ACC's regular season and tournament champions, the unanimous No. 1 team in the AP poll, and almost certainly the bracket's #1 overall seed. They have lost just twice this season, one of which was by 1 point, in overtime, and currently boast the most efficient defense measured in the 17 seasons tracked by KenPom.com. Virginia has been nearly as good previously under coach Tony Bennett, earning #1 seeds in both 2014 and 16 and a No.2 in the year in between, and its defense has ranked in the top 5 nationally in 6 of the last 7 seasons. But the Hoos have not broken through to the Final Four in the Bennett era, nor at all since 1984, and as the wins and accolades pile up, the question will be whether this is the team to finally do so. With its pack-line defense by now a reliably suffocating commodity, the question will again be whether Virginia has the offense necessary to reach the final weekend or win a national title. Though the Cavs rank 21st in offensive efficiency, tied for their second-best mark under Bennett, it's the methodicalness of their attack. They rank dead last in the country in tempo, that can make it seem stagnant, and, in case of emergency, make it particularly difficult to mount a comeback. At your 2018 Virginia ACC tournament champions here, but in Saturday's ACC final, the Cavaliers showed why their offense can be as effective as it needs to be. They averaged 1.22 points per possession, their third best showing against a major conference team this season, the best, 1.29, having come 2 days earlier against Louisville, thanks in large part to a fanatical level of care with the ball, which they turned over just once in the game's first 25 minutes and 4 times in all. Their outside shooting was as good as it's been all season as they made 9 of 17 three-point attempts, with multiple makes from Guy, Devin Hall, Ty Jerome and Nigel Johnson. Virginia is not necessarily a three-heavy team. It takes just 34.9% of its shots from beyond the arc, 249th in the country, but it is a capable one, making 39.0% of its attempts, and Saturday's final was an illustration of how hard it will be to beat when those shots are falling. North Carolina, a likely #2 seed and legitimate Final Four contender, led the game for less than a minute. There were minor surprises over the course of Virginia's run in Brooklyn. In Friday's semifinal, Guy barely registered his first collegiate dunk, but the regular season champs' postseason path was thus far as steady as just about everything else they've come to be known for. Now the question becomes whether they will achieve something truly out of the ordinary, and whether that everything will come. With the hours counting down until the NCAA tournament kicks off with its selection show, here are 3 more thoughts on this past week's ACC tournament. North Carolina will need that same energy in the tournament. Sure, they barely registered a lead against Virginia, but Saturday's final was not discouraging for the Tar Heels either, as they stayed within striking distance into the game's closing minutes and managed the second-best defensive showing, 1.08 points per possession, any team has had against Virginia all year. More important might be that they were playing in the game at all, having entered the week as the ACC's No. 6 seed and needing to win 3 games in 3 days to reach the final. North Carolina has endured a number of relative lulls over the course of this 10-loss season, notably losing at home to Wofford in December and dropping 3 straight to close out January. But this week in Brooklyn, which included erasing a 14-0 deficit to beat Miami by 16 and a semifinal win over Duke, the Tar Heels looked like a team capable of a deep run, playing with an energy and aggressiveness on the offensive boards that often help make up for lackluster shooting. Such compensation will be essential to North Carolina's postseason success. The Tar Heels have the nation's 4th most efficient defense despite ranking 111th in effective field goal percentage, in large part because they're the country's 2nd-best offensive rebounding team, 38.4%. North Carolina will also need a better showing from Theo Pinson than what it got Saturday, as the playmaking senior forward shot just 1 for 10 from the field, though he did finish with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. A win on Saturday could have moved the Tar Heels into the conversation for the last #1 seed. That's unlikely now, but they made a case for themselves just the same. But do we like Duke now? After the Blue Devils lost to North Carolina in this tournament's semifinals, which is the worst example of recency bias, buying into Duke's recent stretch of strong defensive play after spending 2/3 of the season struggling on that end, or becoming concerned anew about its D after it allowed the Tar Heels to score 1.03 points.